on the broader theme of reconciliation, it's always interesting, Lizzie, I think just between us three here, Reconciliation Week for me has always been it conjures a range of thoughts and emotions for me, because it comes up every year, and then you're called upon to comment on it and those kinds of things. But you sort of think, well, it would be good if we didn't have to have a thing like Reconciliation Week, because everybody's just getting on and doing what they're doing. At the same time, I get why we need to have a week like this to make everybody mindful of the need to reflect on how we are together in a relationship. And so the theme "in this together" means we're in this together, and the notion of reconciling means there's two parties, and in this case it's Aboriginal Australia, or three parties I suppose, Aboriginal Australia, Torres Strait Islander Australia, and White Australia, or a New Australia if you like. And so it brings a time in the year where we have to reflect on who we are and how we exist together in this relationship. And so you'd like to think that we don't just do nice things during this week and then we forget about it for the rest of the year. And I think that's the challenge for all of us, is to reflect on who we are and how we are with people of difference. And sometimes it's easy to think that Reconciliation Week or the notion of reconciliation is just about Aboriginal people, when the truth is it's not. It's more about mainstream Australia. For me, it's more to do with mainstream Australia than it is about Aboriginal Australia.
Because we're trying to reconcile every day, each day. That's what it is, and that's what I feel.
Yeah.
Personally, I know we all have diverse perspectives. Angela, what's yours?
Mine's slightly different. I do have a problem with reconciliation, and our elder was Uncle Chegg was saying the other day, "Don't talk to me about reconciliation. I have nothing to reconcile." And I often think about reconciliation. I think back to the 1990s when it was first introduced, and there was going to be about social justice, and we were going to have these package of things the government was going to look at to remove structural discrimination and systemic discrimination. It was going to be fantastic. ATSIC was set up. And then the government changed and ATSIC got abolished and practical reconciliation came in, which then allowed a barbecue or painting on a wall or something to be an act of reconciliation. And it sort of has started to become, for me, this very superficial kind of week, and as much as other people trying to make it otherwise, and as not everyone feels the same way I do. And so for me, it's like, do I actually get involved in Reconciliation Week? Because I feel that it's not making a big difference, because it was introduced in the 1990s, and look at the position it's still in today. 30 years later, not much has changed. And it's actually gone backwards in some respect.
So we can't help being struck by the irony, right?
That's right.
Three black people here talking about reconciliation, saying it's not about us. Yet
I know. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so for me, it's kind of like, I'm hoping that the Uluru Statement from the Heart is going to make a bigger difference from our mob. And move that forward. Yeah.
And that's it. We always have to hope.
Yeah.
We're constantly hoping something will work, and we are constantly working. But where is the work coming from our non-Indigenous brothers and sisters? Where is that coming from? And why haven't they stepped up? Why do we have to work? We've been working and fighting for years, 400 years.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, you've got a great organisation like IPA,
Absolutely.
I'm on the board of, is reaching out to try to create this kind of a circumstance to do what it says here, to challenge our thinking about such things. And so that's what we're doing here. We're challenging people's thinking. So the next time around, we are stretched in our thinking about how we might do this differently, and that's why it's a good forum to do that. So.
Absolutely. Well, then on top of that, what can the wider community do to support us, and stand in solidarity the right way? and recognise us as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and for our identity, but also stand with us and
I think one of the things, again, I was talking to the elder the other day about this, is non-Indigenous Australians need to educate themselves about Australia's true history and contemporary space that we all live in, and the position of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people within that. It's like they come to you as an empty vessel or something, so can you please just pour it all in? You know, they actually need to come with something and show that they've had that commitment to learning and understanding that space before they come and ask you questions about that. So I think if someone's done that and someone has gone to Indigenous events and done a lot of that before they come and talk to you and want to be a part of whatever it is that you're doing, that makes a bigger difference. And I think, like, for me personally, I welcome them in more if I know that they've done that. And we need to understand too, I think that Australia has done such a good job at hiding its history that there are people out there that don't know what's going on. Maybe they've deliberately tried not to know what's going on, and are in some kind of psychosis or something about our history. But if they can actually work on it themselves and then come and see us, I think that's the way to work with us, and to also come from a kind heart and come from that they don't have the answers, but we're here to work with you.
It's again an interesting question. Let me come at it this way, Lizzie. I could talk to people about what not to do. You know, some people think that they're being polite by saying, I don't see black and white. You know, and I think that's problematic, because I'm saying what I would say to people is, I want you to see my blackness. I want you to see the things that make me Aboriginal. And don't pretend that they don't exist, or that you have to be polite and not see that, because I'm not ashamed of that, and neither of us should pretend that that's something to be ashamed about, because I've rejected that stereotype a very long time ago, and the kids at Sherbrooke School rejected that stereotype a very long time ago. So don't say to me, I don't see Aboriginal or white or black or white or whatever. I want you to see that, you know, and what do you do is to see the things that make me Aboriginal and be intrigued and interested in those things and treat those things respectfully. But also understand that that's not who I am in total, that there are so many other things that make me who I am. My sense of being Italian, for instance, I speak pretty good Italian. Or I'm learning.
I won't swear at you, only know that one word.
But I'm not connected to my sense of being Aboriginal is my sense of humanity, and that's where each of us, I think, need to connect to that. And with that comes a responsibility to acknowledge my sense of agency, my sense of capacity, my sense of the need for hope and optimism, and have those things nurtured all around me and the people that we deal with. So connect with my sense of humanity and the humanity of others, and be intrigued by those layers upon that sense of humanity, the things that make me Italian, the things that make me Aboriginal. But in this Australian context, in the context of reconciliation, we've got to be determined to connect with a sense of humanity and be intrigued and interested and respectful of the things that make us Aboriginal, or the things that make others Torres Strait Islander. And if we can do that in a way that is respectful, we would like to think that that influences the way we behave in that relationship. And I would like to think that that influences the way that white people, white Australians, behave in that relationship with Aboriginal Australians. Because if one can connect with my humanity or the humanity of other Aboriginal people, then we're less inclined to discriminate against them or to imagine that they're kind of lesser than what they should be. I think that's part of the trick, and that we don't confine that to one particular week in the year, that we have to commit to doing this in an ongoing way. And if that can be done, we commit to connecting with our humanity and our sense of being Aboriginal and being respectful of that, then that takes your connection to not just 250 years, but tens of thousands of years of connection to this country. And that's got to be a good thing, right?